Hello and welcome to Songs for the Struggling Artist, the blogcast. This is episode 247. My name is Emily Rainbow Davis. I am happy to be talking to you today, whenever you're listening. Whatever your today is the day I'm glad to be talking to you. Here's how this works. I'm going to say some things, then I'm going to read you a blog, and then I'm going to play you a song. I just finished recording the song, so I feel like I have a little bit of the song's energy still in me. So if that was a perhaps more animated introduction than you're used to, I think that's why. I can feel like my energy is like, woo, okay, here we go. Oh, right, that we don't need to do that anymore. So this blog podcast is about a podcast that I listen to. So it's like a little podcast circle, a little circle of podcasts. I listen to a podcast. I wrote a blog about it. Now I'm recording the podcast of the blog about the initial podcast. So, and the podcast that I listened to was WTF with Marc Maron, which is a podcast that has been on like almost since the beginning of podcasts, I think. And I have been listening to it for quite some time. I don't listen to every episode anymore. I'm sorry. I feel like there's like so many podcasts now. But I did listen to this episode about Jake Gyllenhaal, with Jake Gyllenhaal. He was the guest on the show. And so I had some responses and I wrote about them. So here it is. It is called WTF with Jake Gyllenhaal. Granted, I'm a little wound up. Theater's been on really stinky mothballs for a year, and I'm really tired of my tiny apartment. So forgive me if this response to a little podcast episode I listened to is a little overblown, but WTF. Actually, the name of the podcast is WTF, and that is also literally how I felt after listening to the episode with Jake Gyllenhaal. It's not Gyllenhaal's fault or Maron's fault. Marc Maron is the host. It's his podcast. It's just that their talk about theater made me feel a lot of things, and most of them weren't good. First, a couple of people who spend most of their time in the film and TV worlds waxing rhapsodic about theater is always a little triggering. Like, yes, you're right. There is magic in a theater with an audience. It is the greatest. Damn it. Ouch. Now go back to making your money. Second, and this is the bit that is getting me all itchy and twisted, Gyllenhaal was describing how the show Seawall A Life came about. And on one hand, it is a super sweet story about how a collaboration became a show that a lot of people really liked. I did not see it. On the other hand, it is an infuriating journey through the fame-hungry annals of American theater. I mean, listen, Gyllenhaal is a movie star. I like a lot of things he's done. I got no beef with him. He seems nice, and he's fun to look at on a screen. It's charming that people fall asleep next to him on the subway. But Lord have mercy, this movie star loved a little personal piece by a writer he worked with and wanted to perform it, even though it was not written to be performed. But the movie star wanted to do it. So he eventually persuaded the writer to let him do it, and that writer was buddies with another writer who also had a short monologue that wasn't really for the stage, and so they put the two pieces together, and voila! Play! That's cool. Cool, that's cool. Put on whatever you want. But then there's the part where the movie star gets a year's worth of development of this piece at the Public Theater. He got to fuck around for a year at the Public with all its resources at his disposal, discovering what this piece could be. And flames on the side of my face. Why, Emily? Do you not want to go see Jake Gyllenhaal on the stage? I mean, I'd go if somebody gave me a ticket. I can't afford those prices. But that's not it. I don't object to a movie star getting to put on a play. I don't object to him taking all the time he needs to make something he loves. But what I do object to are our nonprofit institutions giving time and space to movie stars when there are so many worthy, unsupported theater folk out there who would take a year residency at the Public and absolutely murder it. I know that's not how the Public works. I know that it will give space to celebrities because they'll bring in audiences later, and it's all very logical. But it does rather feel like if a movie star read a cereal box that they thought might be a fun show, the Public would give over all its resources so we could all see the story of Honey Nut Cheerios or whatever. Maybe we got lucky and Jake Gyllenhaal's buddy's piece was really the best thing seen on a stage, and so yay! Again, I don't know. I did not see Seawall A Life. But it is indicative of how stuff goes on, or went on. I don't know what sort of theater we'll get back when we get back. I don't expect the Public to let me come develop a show there. It's not about me. Though, give me space in a major institution with their resources behind me and watch the fuck out. But what it is about are all the resources that artists need to be able to get a leg up in this theater world being given over to celebrities and corporate interests and more narrow pipelines. The Public wants to be seen as an inclusive, diverse bastion of creativity. But when it comes down to it, their choicest reserves are for a group of white movie star guys. Also, the guy who runs the place is a white guy whose compensation adds up to $1 million a year. He gets paid that money to give space to movie stars. And it's not even about the Public. Any theater in the country would have given Jake Gyllenhaal space to develop his little idea. But anyone who's not a movie star will probably have to go to Yale Drama School first, and even then, no one will give him a year to develop something. And listen, I know Gyllenhaal is not unaware of his privilege. He knows theater is elitist. He explains that's why he became a Broadway producer and produced Jeremy O. Harris's Slave play. And that is a good thing. It is good to see a play by a Black playwright featuring Black people on Broadway. And congrats to Yale grad Jeremy O. Harris for breaking a barrier. But this barrier breaking took a Yale grad and a movie star to get there. Also, I was struck by the fact that in the WTF conversation about elitism on Broadway, the extremely unaffordable ticket prices never came up. Anyway, whatever. It's fine. It's really just a silly little reaction to a podcast I listened to and then couldn't stop thinking about and feeling things about. There might not even be any theater when this is all over. There's no reason to get all worked up right now. But after listening to that podcast, I worry it's going to be just movie stars in our theater from here on out. They'll be the only ones who can afford to do it at a certain point. And all the theaters will line up to give them space. So go figure, you put the name of a celebrity in your blog post, it gets a few more hits than it usually does. 'Cause people like celebrities, yes they do. I don't think that's the only reason this one was a hit. I think I know some people appreciated it, so that's nice also. Sometimes you like things for reasons besides celebrities, and that is good. Yeah. I don't know. It did feel a little weird to go on a rant about theater when there is no theater. It feels like, oh, everyone here is dead. You're not allowed to be mad at them. But everyone's not dead. That some of them are still drawing a salary even though they're not doing anything. Anyway, whatever. I can be mad. I can be mad about many things. I encompass many mads. My fury is a many-faceted creature. So, the song that is going to be here for you shortly is a song that I actually started to work on with the Cuomo post. I sort of was working on this one and You're No Good kind of simultaneously, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to use. So this one sort of was ready to go and in the pipeline, as it were. Pipeline being a fairly loaded term in the American theater. But my own personal pipeline, not the theater pipeline. So if you want to sort of connect this song to the Cuomo post in your mind as well, you may. The song is Good Old Boys Club by Casey Musgraves. And I have like fond memories of this song because this song is why I heard of Casey Musgraves. My mom and I were in Portland, Maine, walking around, and I heard literally this song. I was like, what's happening over there on that pier? I think I'm hearing someone say, Good Old Boys Club. And so we kind of walked over. We couldn't, get past the entryway, but we could see, the show going on a little bit and watched her sing this song. And I was like, I have to know who this person is. The song is amazing. And now I'm a big fan. I think she's amazing. She's the greatest. So here it will be in a moment. Good Old Boys Club. I was thinking about putting it here and thinking well, is this song the right song? Because is the public really a boys club? They wouldn't think so. They certainly don't think of themselves as a boys club. But they did have a woman as an artistic director for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. So we did the math. That's 2% of the history of the public. They had a woman in charge. Basically, Joanne Acolytis took over after Joe Papp died. But since then, that was a while ago. And I feel fairly comfortable saying that it is a boys' club. I have not been a part of it or near enough to it to attest to the atmosphere. But I feel like based on the choices they make and the shows they put on and how they choose what to do, et cetera, that it feels pretty clear that it is in fact a boys' club. And a movie star boys club. It's not even just boys at the, baseball hut or what I don't know what you call it. Anyway, but it's like a movie star boys club is what that is. Anyway, so I feel fairly comfortable connecting this song and this post, even though I don't think the public is a typical boys club. Certainly not the boys club that Casey Musgraves is referring to. She's talking about the country music boys club. But they are companions, are they not? Anyway, thank you for listening. If you like the podcast, please tell someone about it. Share it on the social media, subscribe, all the things. If you'd like to support it, there's patreon.com/Emily R. Davis, Ko-fi, PayPal. All those links are in the show notes. And always much appreciated. So, thank you. And now, without further ado, I give to you Casey Musgraves's the song of Casey Musgrave, Good Old Boys Club on ukulele. I don't need a membership to validate the hard work I put in and the dues I've paid. Never been too good at just going along. I guess I've always kind of been for the underdog. Favors for friends will get you in and get you far. Shouldn't be about who it is you know, but about how good you are. Don't want to be a part of the good Another gear in a big machine don't sound like fun to me. Don't wanna be a part of the good old boys club. There's a million ways to dream, and that's just fine. Oh, but I ain't losing any sleep at night. And if I end up going down in flames, well, at least I know I did it my own way. Hey, hey. Don't wanna be a part of the good old boys club. Cigars and handshakes. Appreciate you, but no thanks. Another gear in a big machine don't sound like fun to me. Don't wanna be a part of the good old boys club. Favors for friends will get you in and get you far. When did it become about who you know, not about how good you are? Don't wanna be a part of the good old boys club. Cigars and handshakes. Appreciate you, but no thanks. Another gear in a big machine don't sound like fun to me. Don't wanna be a part of the good old boys club. I don't wanna be a part of your good old boys club.